Naked Shamanism. Welcome to With Insights Radio. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. I will take you on a journey across the universe through shamanism, metaphysical, and holistic. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Just thought I'd come on here for a little bit and just share a little bit of what's going on here. This Sunday, it's my dad's house. Been clearing it out, selling things and moving things, and getting ready to clear it out now. We're my siblings and I are getting ready to have the haulers come and part ways with the things that don't really serve us and don't have any need. I mean, we're kind of on a timetable, a crunch a little bit, so we're trying to move things. I mean, we talked about selling some of the things that are left over, but we find that sometimes we have to let go of things, and I understand, and I'm very into the landfills and things like that, but there comes a point where sometimes things are out of our control, and you do the best you can in the situation that you have, and don't beat yourself up. Give yourself a little bit of credit for at least attempting and trying to do better and to move things in a better way, and to have the situation work out in a way that is positive, in a way that is beneficial for all. So I'm here, and I'm going to do a little ceremony and just ask, Earth Mother to, accept these offerings from the garage and from the basement and stuff, and ask her to reconstitute them into the land. Hopefully the haulers will take some of the things that they feel maybe they can sell and use and do whatever they do. I try to recycle and try to repurpose things the best I could possibly in the situation, in the time frame that was given, in the time frame that was given to us. And sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to. But anyhow, so I don't want to beat myself up about that, because I kind of do that sometimes, just thinking about all the things that, the attachments that we do. But, it's funny how much as human beings we gather things and we collect things, and what these things mean to us, and why we hold on to things, and why they are in our lives, and what purpose they brought us in that moment, what purpose they served us. And for some people, their things are very important to them. They're very valuable. The things that they have in their home, the things they have in their basement, their attics, their closets. We have an association with that in order to re-trigger and re-energize us, brings us into a state of mind, bring us back into a certain place in time. So we buy things and look at things, and basically that's what we as human beings do. I don't call it we're hoarders. We hoard things because they mean something to us, and maybe they don't mean anything to the next person, but we hold on to things and we collect things, and it's almost like taking our brain and putting it into the space that we're in, taking the feelings and emotions that are inside of us and putting them into all these crevasses and all these spaces and places and all the things that we are associated with. And then when people come over and when they look at things, some things are cool, some people don't even look at things, so we overlook things and we don't even bother to address them. But for us, they're important. As human beings, we like things, and right now I know we're going into this minimizing lifestyle, where we minimize the things that are in our lives, things that don't really serve us, and we move it and we ask the universe to recycle it and take it back, and which is very powerful medicine. It's very powerful work, which is really good. And but for some of us, we're not there. Our house represents the different aspects of ourselves, different places of ourselves. And when you think about it, it's pretty interesting. You look at the attic, you usually find a lot of old things and antiques and things that are a little bit more of a value, and it's a little drier up in the attic too. So in our head, sometimes we're in our head, and sometimes we can be really dry, and we can be very, blasé about certain things. And then in the basement, it depends who you are. You can either deck it out, make it really cool, or when you store things. But here's the thing about the basement. Basement's cold, wet, damp, in some very older houses that I've lived in. And from time to time, you lose some of the things that you possess and you hold on to. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself in a situation where, things are collecting, they're getting moisture, they're getting mold and stuff, and you have to let go of that stuff. But yet a part of us won't let go of it. A part of us won't let go of that attachment that we have to things. And then we have bedrooms. And then, things in our bedrooms, in our dining rooms, our living rooms, our kitchens. There are caves. That's where we reside. Those are our caves. We don't live in necessarily physical caves, but we create these caves, these shelters, in order to protect us. So today, I'm saying goodbye to the things in my life, saying goodbye to things that are, that had some kind of value to my parents, and maybe not so much to me. And I'm saying goodbye and honoring my mother and father's memory, and saying, hey, we remember you, we honor you, and we thank you. These things don't necessarily serve us personally, so we're going to let go. We're going to let go of you, a part of you, and we're going to let go back to the earth, back to Mother, and I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Thank you for the opportunity for us to share with these things. But that's kind of where we're at today. Today is kind of a mixed day. I'll be recording a little bit later as they're dumping things out and sharing, because there's a part of me, it just feels like this, for me, this process is very, very painful. And I know everybody does it in their own way. My siblings do it in their own way. You do it in your own way. But today, I feel like I have to document this story of my life, because I want my grandkids one day, and their kids, and my great-grandkids, and my great-great-great-grandkids, and my great-great-great-great-grandkids remember the people who established a foundation for them, established a belief system for them, established a reason why they lived, and why they were here, and while we were here, what we did. We're in a very opportune time to share and document who we are as human beings with social media, and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the platforms. We're in a very special time to share a story about who we were and how we were and what we did, how we shared. I know some of it's made up, some of it's painful, some of it's silly, some of it's fun. But I look forward the day that I'm not here on this planet anymore, per se, in the physical form, more in the spiritual form, that I'm their ancestor, and that they will remember what Papi Gino, Mama Rosa were like. My grandkids today don't know their grandparents, my grandparents, because I didn't really know my grandparents. There was a different way of sharing, and it wasn't shared in a proper way. But now here's an opportunity for me to share stories about my life, share stories about my family, share stories about my entertainment, share stories about drumming, share stories about dancing, singing, crying, laughing, the joy and the bliss that, I had in life. And, this is an opportune time for everybody who's on this, live feed to share the story of you, the story of us, the story of life, the things that made us who we are. Today we are who we are because of the people before us, the people who laid a foundation for us. Not all of it was good, and not all of it was bad. And some of it didn't have any foundation to even stand on. But here we are, sharing the stories, sharing these things that we heard bigger than life. And now all of a sudden, one day, as we grow, we become bigger than life. And then our story becomes bigger. And then what happens is we get to watch it on YouTube. We get to watch it on Facebook. One day someone will go back and go, oh, wow, these guys drum, these guys dance. Boy, and this is what keeps the stories going, since we've kind of lost that. We've lost that. Hi, Connie, how are you? We've lost that storytelling aspect of our lives. It was something that used to be done around the fireplace, or around the fire pit, or around the dining room table. People don't even eat together anymore. It's so different now, the way we are raised, the way we are living, that it pains me sometimes to know how do we leave a legacy behind? What do we do? How do we share the stories of the people that we've never met? I have ancestors I've never met, and I see them through pictures, and I was curious what they were thinking, what they were feeling, what emotions they were going through. And they probably weren't any different than me. The situations were different, but I know they didn't have Facebook, they didn't have social media, they didn't have anything to connect except for the pictures and photos and stories they wrote. And here we are today, and there's some people here on this, Jayla, for example, my friend Jayla, these are people who are recording their voices, their images, their stories, their sharing. And this is the things that people remember. These are the things that are cataloged and documented forever. And hopefully it all stays around and doesn't disappear, because this is a good insight to who we were as a society, as a generation, through the eyes of the people who actually lived it. My story will be completely different than the next person who went with me on a car trip. We see the world differently, but yet the experience is there, and I get to share and storytell and story build that way. And this is why I enjoy the work that I do, connecting with people and working with people, because it's a way to share a moment in time with everything and everyone that we were involved with. You know, sharing stories is a forgotten art. We don't do it anymore. We don't sit around, like I said, around the fire pit and share stories like we used to about our days. We don't sit around the dining room table like we used to and have dinner. You know, maybe that's just a fantasy now. Maybe there's something that, I did. Even as poor as we were, we made an effort to sit around the table and eat and talk about the things that we did that day. How was school? What's going on? How can we help you? And then as we got busier and the more money my parents made, they started to disappear on me a little bit. It started to be something where, like, you sit at the table, and next thing you know, it's just your brothers and sisters, and you sit at the table, and next thing you know, there's a TV, and next thing you know, you're having a bowl of cereal. Next thing you know, it's late, and next thing you know, you've totally lost it all. All because of shifts. All because of a shift in belief, a shift in technology, a shift in society, a shift in a way that affects certain people differently. Some people can hold on to it and keep it going, and some people can't. In our instance, our life became business. Our life became restaurants. Our life became properties. And the storytelling became different because we did it through the work we did, waiting on tables as kids, painting in apartments, getting it ready for someone to move in. The stories changed. So I dedicate myself personally, I can't speak for my brothers and sisters, but I work very hard to try to keep our story alive about the Garcias, the Malemkis, the Mandriatis, the Lapsleys, and all the people who have come before me. Because you know what? If you don't, then it becomes a genealogy exploration. And when you find those nuggets, I don't know if any of you do genealogy, when you're searching for that little nugget or that little ancestral history, because you want to find out about a little piece about who you are, a little piece about why you act the way you are and how you're related to that person. Most of us don't have that. We only have the stories that have been written or something that's been told. Oh, you're like Uncle Bob or blah, blah, blah. Uncle Bob was a bum. Or Uncle Richard was a rich guy and you're like him, but you're not as rich. You hear these stories. I hear people tell me stories all the time about their ancestors, and they find how they're related to this monarchy, that monarchy, and that they're from this and that. But they're proud. That's my point. The point is that they're proud to know who they are. You should be excited to know where you come from and who you are and what makes you the way you are and why you have the looks you look and why the genes and why the feelings and the emotions. And it also is a connection to who you are as a spiritual being, as a person who lives on, walks and breathes in this present moment in time. It explains a lot about who you are and why you are the way you are and why you feel the way you would do. Because energetically, as much as physical traits are passed down, energetic traits are passed down. There's all kinds of things that run through our DNA that we can't even explain. Science can't explain it. Science does some miracle and some amazing things, but there's a lot of things that science cannot explain why things happen the way they do. And that's what's crazy. Science can't explain why the universe is still unfolding, why it's still expanding. Science can't give you an answer. Their first thing is like, well, we don't quite understand. When things explode, the implosion, explosion, whatever, things have to come back to source, right? Because we're growing. It's because we are manifesting. We are creating. We are like the stars in the sky. We are like the creation that becomes, that thing. We're energy. We're energy. We don't die. Our physical body becomes the trees again. We become trees again. We become the grass again, our physical body. Our physical clay disintegrates and becomes soil again. But our energy It moves through the galaxies, moves through the universe, moves through the earth, depending where you want to go, how you want to travel. But your physical body can become a tree again. You can be a standing people again, you know? It's amazing when you take your mind and you put it in a place other than the 9-to-5 gig. And when you think outside the box, when you think of the potentiality, when you don't worry about politics, you don't worry about impeachments, you don't worry about this guy or that guy, when you think about the beauty of the earth, when you think about what is so beautiful out there and what makes this place tick versus all the shit that slows it down and impedes it, it makes it, when we start looking outside of that part, that old system, there's a whole another system outside. There's a whole nother galaxy, another beautiful thing, and another beautiful incarnation. There's so much happening around us. You can't even imagine. You'd blow your mind if you knew. If you took the time just to look into and looked at a tree and looked beyond the tree and looked up into the sky, you would see amazing things happen. If you took a moment just to go, put your knees to the ground and just listen to the earth, or look into a little between trees and clouds, you'll see a whole world developing, a whole world just exploding right before your eyes. You know, all this stuff, cars and planes and computers and stuff, is all a distraction. All this stuff is just a distraction. Computers, cars, planes, you know, entertainment, that's a distraction. Those things distract us from who we truly are and what we're truly feeling inside our heart. When we can feel and we're connected to everything and everyone in the earth and in the sky and the universe, all kinds of things expand, all kinds of things explode. You know, I don't know what makes you tick. I know what makes me tick. I know what makes me excited and happy. I don't know what that does for you, but I encourage you to find and look for the things that make you want to just do some amazing things for you. Because when you do amazing things for you, it just spills over into amazing things for other people, because they look at you and they go, wow, he's doing it or she's doing it. I want to do that. And then when they ask you, what are you doing? And you go, I'm just doing it. And they go, that's it? That's the answer? You're just doing it? Yes, it's that easy. If you want to be happy, be freaking happy. No one can make you happy. If you want to be miserable, most of us wake up miserable. Not all of us, but a lot of us do, because you know what? We don't think anything changes. Of course, nothing's going to change, because you have to change it. You must be the change. You must be the one that turns the doorknob and opens the window, whatever you want to call it. It won't happen by accident. It won't just happen. You fall down the stairs and, oh, you get an epiphany. Well, you know, I got to live life now because I fell down the stairs. You know, my dad didn't get that option. My dad fell down the stairs, cracked his head open, and he's gone. His life's over. Everything about Papi Gino and Mama Rosa is no more, except for the memories that I carry, my brothers and sisters carry, and the people who knew them carry. That's all that's left of these people. All that's left of my ancestors, my mom, my dad. Their story is my interpretation of how I experienced them. And how I experienced them can be either fantastic, it could be frustrating, and all the above and all the below. But someone's interpretation is the history, is his story, her story of how we experience the world, how we experience life, how we experience the things before us. So when people write history, it's also interpretation of how they saw events unfold, how events played out, what happened, and who were the victors and who were the losers, why the losers fought and then they lost. No one ever tells their story, because you know what? It's not important, because the winners and the victors are the only ones we listen to, because that's how we've been raised, that they're bad and we're good, or they're good and they're bad, you know? We don't know why people do things and why they fight things and why they go against the system and why they do that. Everybody has their reasons, but it's their version, their interpretation, their experience, and how that flows. All right, my friends, I didn't mean to turn this into a podcast, but I guess it did. But I want to just thank you for listening, because part of me is going through the grieving process right now. And I'm moving through this energy and this field and this, it's hard to explain, this openness, loneliness, everything at the same time. It's kind of bizarre. It's a weird feeling. And even though you have all these people around you, you can still feel so alone. And sometimes you just want to be left alone. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you know you have to come back and say hi to somebody, or open your mind and receive some love. I'm trying to do that. And you know, my energy and my love has shifted away from certain people. My love and feelings and emotions have shifted to other people. You know, things, you can't help the people you love. You know, you love who you love. That's how life is. You fall in love with people, you fall in love with people. You meet new people, you leave people. New people come into your life, new things happen to you. That's just how it is. It's a cycle. And now we're going into fall. Things are falling away. We're preparing for the winter, where we're going to be working on our internal self and the things that are important to us. All right, my friends, you have a great Sunday. I will talk to you all as soon as I get back online here a little bit later, as we're going through the process of removing things. All right. Be well, my friends. Take care. Love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. And it's good to be here.